How's it, everyone? Welcome to another string review right here on OpenCourt. I'm Kent, and today I'm reviewing a string that was sent to me by one of my viewers. It's a string by the company Tourna, and it's a very interesting take on what people think of when they think of hybrid strings. So today's string review is the Tourna Big Hitter Deuce. Let's check it out. So first off, I want to give a quick shout out to Eric. He's the one that sent me this string to review. He's sent it all the way from Belgium. So thank you so much, Eric, for this Big Hitter Deuce. You also left me a comment recommending this string, and I had never heard of it before. So I'm glad. Thank you for showing me this type of string. I did not know this existed. So getting into the Tourna Big Hitter Deuce, when people think of hybrids, they think of one string for the mains and one string for the crosses. The Big Hitter Deuce is very interesting because it's actually two strings melded together to create one two-toned colored string. So I'm sorry I don't have a package to show you guys because Eric sent it by cutting it off of a reel. But here's the packaging again, the Big Hitter Deuce. And I'll show you guys what it looks like in my racket a little bit later. But it's basically a fusion of the Tourna Big Red and the Big Hitter Blue. I did a separate comparison review of the Big Red versus the Big Hitter Blue on this channel. I'll leave a link to that versus review down below. But basically, this Big Hitter Deuce is supposed to achieve the traditional kind of hybrid sense of getting the best of both worlds while mitigating the weaknesses of both strings. So just to quickly recap, the Big Red is a little bit on the firmer side. It's not too stiff, but it's definitely firmer than the Big Hitter Blue. The red is supposed to be more feel oriented, a little bit more crisp, a little bit more lively. It has that stiff, firm feel for people like me who like a really responsive string bed. The Big Hitter Blue is more on the soft, comfortable side. It's not super mushy, it's not super dead, but it does get a little bit of decent power. And in my conclusion for the Big Red versus Big Hitter Blue, I personally like the Big Red a little bit better because it's firmer and a little bit more responsive for my front court game at the net and to hit those touch and angle shots that I really like. So this Big Hitter Deuce is supposed to get that crisp and lively feel that the Big Red has, but also giving a little bit of comfort and power and pop from the Big Hitter Blue. So honestly, that seems like my ideal kind of string. It's a simple round poly, so I don't expect it to get a whole lot of spin, but if it gets that crisp feel with pop and power, that is the ideal type of polyester string that I personally like. So the Big Hitter Blue is around $10 to $13. It depends if they have a sale. It's listed at $13 for a set, but I've seen it around $10 when it's on sale. And it comes in two gauges, 16 gauge and 17 gauge, or 125 and 130 millimeters. I asked for the 125 millimeters, so thank you, Eric, for sending me that. And here it is. This is the Tourna Big Hitter Deuce in my boom racket. So if you guys can see, look at this, it's kind of two-toned. You can see it's red on one half and blue on the other half. So it's a very interesting string. I've never seen a string like this, which is literally two strings fused into one. I've seen nylon poly hybrid strings like the Technet Fiber Fusion strings, but I've never seen two polys melded together. So let me know in the comments below if there are any other strings like this, because this is pretty interesting. So I got this strung at 54 pounds in the mains and crosses in my boom, and I'm gonna test it out. And I'm hoping that it's going to get the best of both the Big Red, the feel and the response, and the best of the blue, which is the comfort and power. So without further ado, let's jump on the court and let's try out the Big Hitter Deuce. But before that, if you guys like this content and want to see more, be sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button to keep the reviews coming. So let's talk about the Tourna Big Hitter Deuce. This isn't going to be a really long pros and cons because I reviewed the Big Red and Big Hitter Blue against each other in a previous review. Check out that review if you're interested. First, this string is marketed as a literal hybrid of the two strings as they are fused together. Usually when you string a hybrid, you're trying to get the best of both worlds while also mitigating the downsides of the two strings. So does this unconventional take on a poly-poly hybrid achieve what players usually look for? In my opinion, I definitely think so. The things I liked about the Big Red are the firm and responsive feel and the control on ground strokes and volleys. The things I liked about the Big Hitter Blue are the pop and power without the springy and erratic launch angle. The Big Hitter Deuce blends the power, control, comfort, and feel all nicely to produce a very well-rounded poly. Now, would it be any different if I just got a set of Big Red and Big Blue separately and strung it in a traditional hybrid? Probably not. But having the two strings melded together means I don't have to buy two sets of strings just to string one racket, so it could save money. But I don't think a lot of players are going to gravitate towards something as unconventional as this, which is a shame because I really like this fusion hybrid. Novelty and interesting ideas unfortunately are not that popular in the tennis world. Case in point, 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐷𝐥 is made with a material called 𝐦𝐤𝐬x, which plays like poly but isn't nearly as harsh on the arm, but it's not that popular of a string. Maybe I'll do a review on that one day, but I'm getting off on a tangent, so back to the Deuce. The best aspect of this string in my opinion is the balance of control and power. When I take a full swing, I feel a decent amount of ball pocketing, and that causes the ball to fly off with good velocity and doesn't decelerate much after bouncing. However, the feel is firm enough that I never really had the fear of my ball sailing long. And at the same time, I didn't feel any discomfort in my arm even on those full fast swings. I really enjoyed rallying from the baseline with the Deuce. One of my favorite shots to hit was the low to mid backhand where I could drop my right shoulder to load and fully rotate my hips and drive through the ball. I was able to hit not only deep but control my aggressive shots side to side as well. When I played doubles, I had an easy time hitting past the net person, keeping them off the poach. Even though I think the Deuce isn't a great string for spin, I was able to easily keep the ball low over the net when I was redirecting hard serves. Also, because of my shorter extension, I look for something that can give me some assistance in the serving department. The Deuce gave me some pretty nice pop on my serves, and that allowed me to win some easy points or to set up my next shot. I tend to struggle clearing the net on my slice and flat serves with stiffer strings. On the other hand, if a string is too springy, I lose control on my kick serve and I send them past the service line. The Deuce gave me just enough control to get my kick serves to dip inside the line, but also enough punch to clear the net consistently. If I'm feeling confident with my flat serve, it makes me feel unstoppable, and I was getting that feeling quite often when serving with the Deuce. I really enjoyed the Deuce at net as well because of that aforementioned firm feel. I could punch the volleys and the firm string bed kept the ball in play. But I got good power on high volleys, poaches, and overheads, and if I ever got a clean hit on those, the ball rarely came back. The solid impact also helps my confidence when punching back my opponent's hard shots. I know if I block the shot in front, the strings will take care of the rest, and I don't have the worry of sending volleys past the baseline like I do with softer strings. My touch was also on point with the Deuce since the feel allows me to easily gauge my strength and hit drop shots and angle volleys that land inches from the net. When I'm able to mix in my short game with my long game, I feel much more confident that I can keep my opponent guessing and win points easier. One area that I think the Deuce is a bit lacking is the spin potential. Neither the Big Red or Big Blue are spin monsters, so I didn't expect the Deuce to be one either. It would be really interesting if they had a shaped version of the Deuce. If they had that, I would probably string that in the mains and put the round Deuce in the crosses. But alas, the Deuce we have is a simple round poly that is at best respectable in the spin category. I'm still able to get my kick serve to dive inside the box, but it doesn't aggressively kick up and away like with some other shaped strings. I don't really have any issues with spin or control on my ground strokes since I tend to aim low over the net, but I know some players want aggressive spin to get their forehands to drop inside the baseline at the last second. In my opinion, the Deuce doesn't quite have that for aggressive spin hitters, but it still gets the job done. Tension maintenance and durability are fine, but that's not really high on my priorities anyway. I did notice a gradual decline in the firmness of the strings as I continued to punish the ball with my aggressive swings, but I didn't notice a sharp drop off at any point, and there was no break-in period either. So who would I recommend the Tourna Big Hitter Deuce string for? It's for players who want a good balance between power and control. This is a very interesting fusion because it's stiff enough that aggressive players will get that firm feedback to hit hard confidently, but also pliable enough to provide decent pace and court penetration. If you want more of one or the other, you can adjust the tension for more power or more control. Overall, I think the Deuce is a very versatile fusion string that combines the best of both the red and blue in one convenient package, but I don't think it offers anything different than if you just got a set of the Big Red and Big Blue and strung them in a traditional hybrid. So let me hear from you guys in the comments. Have you tried the Deuce? Are there any differences between these fusion strings and what players would refer to as a traditional hybrid setup? And do you know of any other poly fusion strings? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next review. Thank you for watching this review of the Tourna Big Hitter Deuce right here on OpenCourt. If you guys like this content, be sure to overhead smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on an OpenCourt.